With NBA Media Day being over the last couple of days, teams showing off the new threads, and showing off the new players added to the team throughout the offseason, I decided to sit down and give my preseason predictions on the upcoming year for these NBA teams. And well, today, this first part, we're going to be talking about the Atlantic Division. And if you guys don't know, that consists of the Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors, Philadelphia 76ers, the New York Knicks, and the Boston Celtics. The Brooklyn Nets last year finished 11th in the East with a 32-50 record, and honestly, it's only going to get worse from here. With the loss of Mikal Bridges, the only thing they had really going for them is Cam Thomas being essentially the best player on the team, or at least the best scoring option on the team, and Nicholas Claxton proving to everyone that he can still be a serviceable big, and probably will be moved within the foreseeable future. But the players they added throughout the offseason, such as Killian Hayes, Bogdanovich, and Zaire Williams, doesn't move any needles towards this team's success. Players such as Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith will be most likely moved by this year's deadline or by at least the offseason. The fact that they are still on the team to this day is really surprising, knowing the fact that they've been in trade rumors ever since they've been there. And also, a player like Dennis Schroeder will also most likely be moved too, because they are veteran guys who have no reason being on this team other than roster fill. Ben Simmons being on the team just means that this team has a really low ceiling, and they'll probably end up being bottom of the barrel in the East, probably be within like the 12th to 15th seed in the East, compared to last year, them being 11. They were 20th best defense last year and 23rd best offense, and honestly, they might go up to 25th best defense and around the 25th best offense. This team will continue to get worse throughout the years. The only positive they've done this offseason was get their draft pick back from the Rockets so that they can be bad and then be rewarded for it. Oh yeah, and Daron Sharp's comments during Media Day were god-awful and no one's taking them seriously. Up next, we got the Toronto Raptors. They finished last year with 12th in the East with a 25-57 record. I would think that this year they'll be slightly better, not too much. They'll probably be on the 10th seed, competing for a play-in spot, because the East isn't really that strong towards the bottom end, and especially with Scotty Barnes and Grady Dick expected to make major improvements this year. And last year, Scotty Barnes had a really underrated year, made an all-star team, and is only going to improve on his offensive end. A really great point forward, a really good playmaker in his position, and overall, it's a great team. And people forget that last year when RJ Barrett and Immanuel quickly joined the Raptors after the OG trade, they both had significantly better years. After getting to the Raptors, IQ averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists, compared to what he's averaging in the Knicks was like 17, 5, and 5. A slight improvement, but improvement is an improvement nonetheless. Also, they added Davion Mitchell this offseason will help them defensively. And with Jakob Poeltl said it his best.
I think we all know, like, we're not gonna go attack the championship this year. But it makes no sense for us to try and win every single game as much as we can and sacrifice development in turn of that. So I think we got to find the right balance.
That they are not competing for a championship, which is obvious. But as a player, you should not be saying that to the public. You should let it be known that you're trying to compete just for the sake of it, that people know they're still professional at the end of the day. But like I was saying, as last year, they were 25th on offense, 25th on defense, and they will probably be around the 17 to 20 range for each offense and defense this year. Not major improvements, but slight improvements in the right direction, because we know that they are expected to be slightly better on both ends of the court. And now we have the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm not going to bring up any of the stats they have last year, whether it be the record, the offensive rating, or the defensive rating, because that doesn't show how great of a team the Sixers really were. Yes, they lost to the Knicks in 6 in the first round. Yes, they were the 7th seed. But if you look at this team head to bottom, during the 32 games Embiid played, they were one of the best teams in the league. They were 25-7 when Embiid and Maxey played together, which shows how dominant they are as a duo. But the unfortunate part of that is the fact that Joel Embiid got hurt early on in the year. If Embiid did not get hurt, he was the MVP in the league by far. And it's unfortunate he went down as early as he did, all because people kept saying he was faking his injury. People tried rushing him back. He didn't want to get rushed back. He rushed back and he hurt himself. And because of that, we lost a year of Joel Embiid. But the positive that came out of that, Tyrese Maxey. That jump he took on the offensive end and the load he took to even keep that team inside the play-in range, the playoff range, was nothing but fantastic. And we're only going to see bigger improvements out of Maxey this year. And let's just bring it out. They added Paul George to their roster, which is only going to make them better. Having that third star to rely on, there isn't Tobias Harris dropping 0 points in a playoff game, but now we have Paul George, which, yes, he isn't the same Paul George as years ago. Yes, he has slightly regressed, and yes, his defense isn't as great as it used to be. But Paul George at the end of the day can be great in spouts, even if that's short spurts here and there. But Paul George is still going to be Paul George. We need him to be Paul George. But there's downsides to this. Joel Embiid is 30 years old and Paul George is 34. You are now leading this franchise into a downward spiral if either of these two get hurt for a long period of time. And the worst part is they can both be hurt for a long period of time, which could hurt this team in the long run. Because this team isn't as deep as it was last year. But also this team is better than last year if everyone is playing. Oh, they also got Wabasele from the Olympics, who had a great Olympic run. Is he going to play at time? I don't know. Kelly Oubre is still on the team. Andre Drummond's still on the team. And this team, from head to toe, will be up there to compete with the best of the best in the East. And now, moving on to probably going to be the second best team out East, if barring any injuries. We have the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, over the last year, have added 3 great players to this team to help improve. They added OG back in December, trading away RJ Barrett and Manu quickly. They added Mikal Bridges this summer, trading away Bogdanovich. And now, as of, almost a week ago, they added Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. I know I touched on the Knicks a couple days ago, but now we're going a little more in depth. Well, the New York Knicks have a problem, like I mentioned before, which is the interior defense. And if they don't touch up on that, this would be a problem in the long run. Because in the East, we have to go against the Boston Celtics, who are a great interior team, with KP being down there with 7'3", the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the 76ers with the MVP of the league, Joel Embiid. And now, if you really do believe Cat is your interior guy who can hold his own, that's each their own. But I don't think he can. But on the other side of things, off their bench, there's only 2 big men, which are Jericho Sims and Precious. If Jericho Sims and Precious are your only last line of defense in their paint, you are doomed. You're cooked, and it's simple as that. There's not much more you can do with Precious and Jericho Sims guarding the backline help. So now what do you do as the Knicks? The Knicks need to make one more move. Do not get an all-star caliber big. Just a serviceable big to come off their bench to help with that load. So Mitchell Robinson comes back in January, if he's even still on the team. Because rumors speculating that he will be traded soon. They are shopping him. And whether or how true those are, I really don't know. But the positives for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG, and Karl Anthony Towns are locked up for the next 3 to 4 years. And as a Knicks fan, I'll be happy. That means your championship window is for the next 3 to 4 years. All these players are going to be in their primes. All these players are on good enough contracts where you can move them if needed, except for Cat, because Cat is one of the top 10 most paid players in the league, getting paid $61 million a year. And if you think he deserves it, to each their own. But that's a positive of the Knicks. Overall, they will be a 51 team yet again, probably around the 53 to 54 range this year, because they got really good this offseason. Moving on to the Boston Celtics. And yes, they had a really quiet offseason, which is a good thing in the Celtics POV. Just because they locked up Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis for the next 3 to 4 years. The fact that they locked these players out for 3 to 4 years is a scary sight for the NBA. Because yes, Jaylen Brown and Tatum will continue to get better. KP, as long as he's healthy, will always be a serviceable big man. Drew Holiday is the only outlier because yes, I believe he is 33 years old and will be seeing a slight regression. Barring any injury, it's maybe a slight regression, barely any noticeable, but a regression will be soon for Drew Holiday. Now the main pressure the Celtics team faces is that no other team since the 2018 Warriors has went back-to-back in the NBA Finals. which puts massive amount of pressure on the Celtics. The Nuggets last year, Michael Porter Jr. said it himself. He didn't know when he could stop celebrating and get back to work, and that every single team in the league is gunning for you now. They are going to try to take your head off because you won the championship the previous year, and they can't have you win another one. So what did the Celtics do? Nothing really. Like I said before, they retained everyone, kept all the essential assets, but they still have slight problems throughout the roster, which they didn't really address at all. Al Horford's aging. Luke Cornett is their backup big for the future, apparently. Payton Pritchard, we don't know how great he's going to be. Their bench isn't as deep, but they didn't really rely on their bench. They just all on their starters. Another thing is, coming off this summer, Jason Tatum has the biggest chip on his shoulder after what happened over the last couple months. Whether it be he didn't win the Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown won it, even though Tatum is the best player on the team. Egos collide. I'm not saying they don't work together, but Tatum won the Finals MVP and it was obvious. Also, during the Olympics, him not playing majority of the Olympics and being benched, even when he did play, he played less than 5 minutes a game. That is going to hurt someone who believes they are a superstar in this league. So if you're Jason Tatum, what do? You prove to everyone why you're one of the greatest players in this league. You go out there and you show out. You don't complain. You play basketball. And as long as Derek White, Jrue Holiday, and KP perform to somewhat what they did during this playoff run and throughout the season, the Celtics will continue to be a scary team. The only thing that we hold them back is KP's health and whether or not Jrue Holiday can retain the same amount of three-point shooting the last year, and Derek White being one of the greatest role players in this league, how great he was on the defensive end and the offensive end. If they can keep up to somewhat of the extent they did last year, this team will be scary for the next couple of years to come. If you guys liked the video, let me know. Comment, subscribe for more. If you don't like what I said about your team, I really don't care. I'm giving my opinions and my opinions alone. I don't care what else is saying. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe for more. Catch you guys next time. Peace.